Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's SSJ Raikage here, and today this video will be all about Katsuki Bakugo from My Hero Academia and how strong he will potentially get. So right off the bat from the beginning of the series, Bakugo is already one of the strongest characters that we see not only in Class 1A, but in the entire My Hero Academia universe. He can literally generate explosions from his palms. Now just think about it. That is completely just broken. So the way his quirk works is he generates this sweat from his palms that is very, very similar to nitroglycerin. And nitroglycerin is like really, really explosive. And Bakugo just embodies his quirk. He really owns it. And this shows in the fact that he has the most super moves of anyone in Class 1A. And let me just check to see how many he has real quick. Bakugo already has 7 super moves. 7, and he's not even out of high school yet. And let's compare this to All Might, and he only has 10 super moves. All Might, number one hero, or number one hero if you're still watching the anime, sorry for the spoiler, but number one hero has 10 super moves. He only has 3 more than Bakugo. So let's break down each of these super moves more in depth. So the first super move that we see him use is called Blast Rush Turbo, and it's really self-explanatory. Basically what he does is he throws his hands back, and he throws his hands back, he tucks his knees in, and he angles both of his hands a little bit towards the ground, but also pointing up at the same time. So basically it's launching him forward using explosions to propel him through the air. So that one's really, really self-explanatory. His next super move is called Stun Grenade. So basically what he does is he puts his 2 hands together, and in both of his hands at the same time he lets off a explosion. And I don't know if he has full control over this, but basically what he does is once he lets off those explosions, he does it in such a way that releases a bunch of light and less heat and force. So it's just really, 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 really bright, and works like a real stun grenade. And basically the point is to blind the enemy. That one's really self-explanatory too. And then his next one, which is a variation of this, is called the Zero Distance Stun Grenade. It's basically the same thing, but at point blank range. So yeah, that one's really self-explanatory too. Bakugo's next super move just really shows how much time and effort he puts into controlling his quirk. It's called Howitzer Impact. And basically what he does is he blasts himself up into the air by using a couple of weak explosions. And then what he does is he uses his explosions to spin in the air, and this creates a tornado of smoke. And this tornado of smoke pulls in more air towards him. And this creates a small tornado, and then this builds up a bunch of oxygen around him, which he uses to fuel a huge one-handed explosion. Now this just looks super cool. He used this against Todoroki in Season 2 to beat him. And basically it's just genius. No one would ever think of this. He pulls in oxygen towards him by using the tornado of smoke, and then he releases a giant explosion by using a bunch of sweat, and then all that pent up oxygen inside of that tornado as a big fuel source for this explosion. This just shows how much of a genius Bakugo is with his quirk, and it just shows how natural he is with it, and how much of a part of him his quirk really is. Bakugo's next super move is called the AP shot. And basically what he does is he outstretches his palm, and then with his other hand he forms a circle over that, and then using his palm he fires a concentrated explosion through the hole that he made with his other hand. So this kind of forms like a laser beam of explosions so that basically just forms a laser beam of explosions. And I never really expected Bakugo to make something like this, if he ever were to make this, this early in the series. We're only up to Season 3, and we're about to get Season 4. This is something that I really expect from Bakugo to get in, after a time skip. So yeah, that's basically, so that super move, the AP shot, is just his normal explosion but concentrated down into one area. So then there's a variation of this called the AP shot autocannon. It's basically the same thing, but it's rapid fire. It's not like one singular beam. It's like 30 different little bolts of explosions. I don't really want to use bolts, but I don't really know how else to describe it. It kind of looks like Vegeta and Goku's ki blasts, but yeah, that's basically it for this. Bakugo's final super move is only in the manga so far. If and when they adapt it, it's going to be either in late season 4 or early season 5, so you don't want any spoilers whatsoever. Skip to the timestamp I just put up. It does not spoil the story or anything, but if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, yeah, just skip to that time skip. Giving you 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it's called the Explodipult, and basically what Bakugo does is he grabs his enemy in midair with one of his arms, and then with his other arm he spins using explosions, and then once he has built up enough force, he'll just throw his enemy. So it's basically just he grabs his enemy, spins around, and then throws them once he generates enough force. So yeah, that super move is pretty simple. So yeah. And here we've moved on to the most interesting part of the video, in my opinion. How Bakugo will be in the future. So obviously Bakugo's explosions are going to get a lot stronger than how they are right now. He's already improved a bunch. Like in the beginning of the series, his explosions they weren't tiny, but they weren't that big. And then now in season 3, he's just like not spitting out, but like just throwing out huge explosions. And they're obviously going to get a lot stronger than this. And right now in the anime, officially he's only at building level. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'm using the power scaling from the Versus Battles wiki. I'll talk about this later. But basically, yeah, his explosions are going to get obviously a lot more stronger. And then also, I think that Bakugo will start using explosions from other parts of his body, like elbows, similar to Natsu, or Tenya's Ida's brother from My Hero Academia. And also, he could use this omnidirectional attack where he throws out explosions from every part of his body, similar to Deidara's suicide bomb from Naruto. So basically, I think that Bakugo will eventually get to a point where he can use explosions from almost any part of his body, not just his palms anymore. And that's a pretty logical upgrade for someone like Bakugo. And for Bakugo to reach like these high levels of power that I'm talking about, he's gonna have to like mostly overcome his weakness of when he uses an explosion that's extremely big, he risks breaking his bones or straining himself too much. Well, every quirk has a weakness, so he's not gonna like completely lose this because he's not invulnerable. But he will have to largely like build up a resistance to his own explosions, because if he develops the technique that I told you about before where he uses explosions from almost every inch of his body, he's going to have a pretty high durability to do that without hurting himself. So I do think that Bakugo is going to become a lot more durable in the future, and yeah. So currently Bakugo is an 8B or an 8C on the Versus Battles tiering system scale. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can see what I'm talking about. But basically this means that Bakugo is building level to large building level. And the strongest character in My Hero Academia so far, All Might, is, let me check. All Might is a 7B to a 7A, which basically means that All Might is small city level to mountain level in terms of attack potency. And like I said earlier, Bakugo is large building level at his max as a 16-year-old. And we already know that Deku will be stronger than All Might because as One For All passes on to the next person, it gets stronger and stronger. And Bakugo and Todoroki will still need to be rivals to Deku. So since we know that Deku will be stronger than mountain level, the next stronger than a large mountain level. The next thing is 6C, like 6C and 6B, which is island level to small country level. And if My Hero Academia gets to this level, which it might, because right now My Hero Academia is a pretty grounded series, and it's pretty weak compared to all the other Shonen Jump series like Naruto, Dragon Ball, and things like that, and One Piece. So My Hero Academia is pretty weak compared to all of them, and we know that Naruto had like a big leap to somehow planet level, but My Hero Academia is pretty grounded. So I don't know if they will I don't know if they will reach like planet levels and stuff. But realistically, right now, I think it's reasonable to say that with Bakugo's omnidirectional, like explosion that I was mentioning, either it will be small town level to large town level, which is around nuclear, maybe up to 7A or 6C, which is large mountain to island level, in terms of attack potency. So yeah, that's how strong I think Bakugo will be by the end of the series so far. And if you're watching this in the future, at the end of My Hero Academia, after it's already ended, please don't bash on me. My Hero Academia is only about 200 and something chapters in right now, so please don't get mad at me if I'm wrong. But yeah, guys, that's how strong I think Bakugo will be.